Hey everybody.
Hello.
So we are back, literally. So actually, this podcast is to say back with Strongfit. I'm going to explain why with everything. So back to doing the template every week. Actually, this is part one of our strength. We're going to talk a lot about strength for the next 4 or 5 podcasts. Again, we'll explain why. But to say Strongfit is back in that sense. So why is it? So we've been training with Janine for her powerlifting competition. She competed like months ago, 2 months ago now?
Yeah, 2 months. More than 2 months.
2 months ago.
Over 2 months ago.
Where she got her 400-pound deadlift in competition. She actually won the whole thing. She was the last person deadlifting, so it was really cool.
So cool.
Yeah, it was a
so
push and pull. So we did the bench press first and then the
just...
deadlift. But the point was to get the 180 in competition, which she did. So the next one we're going to shoot for 190. But what is cool about that is we had to, I had to apply all the Strongfit stuff to Janina in order to make her stronger. So this is what the next 4 or 5 podcasts are going to be about, getting stronger. But the why? Because again, so I'm back fully into Strongfit. So let me explain where things are and where they're going. So in LA with UCLA, we are actually very close to starting our work together. So with Dr. Nasser, but also with UCLA. So in July, we're going to have the major study that we're going to do directly with the university. So in February, March is going to be our proof of concept study. So we're going to redo the last study a little bit bigger, the proof of concept. And in July, we'll do the big one, which means 60 participants, probably 2 to 3 weeks, see if we can get some epigenetic changes out of the training. The point of all that is to get a new cognitive behavior therapy going with UCLA that would be FDA approved, paid by insurance. So changing in a way the field of psychiatry. Like, I have no illusions when it comes to changing the entire field, but I think what we can introduce is a new therapy, a new cognitive behavior therapy that will associate the RFFP with movement. And so that's going, right? But
so cool.
Yeah,
it's
but that
so
stuff
major.
Studying and doing all that stuff made me look at certain things a certain way. And this is what I want to talk about, because I will explain why Strongfit is back in that sense. At the end, because the study we're doing for the behavior therapy is going to be applicable to depression, anxiety, all that stuff. But really the main stuff is and autism, but it's PTSD, that's where it started. And the core of the therapy really is resilience.
Yes.
Mental resilience, physical resilience, which is interesting because if you look at depression, there is cognitive depression and somatic depression. So physical versus mental always, right? The two things are the same, but two sides of the same coin. In both cases, resilience is the key.
Yes.
And so what do we mean by resilience? Resilience is two things. It's 7 times down, 8 times up. Mm-hmm. Resilience is getting back up, right? So you have 2 forms of resilience. You have how many times can you get back up? So 7 times down, 8 back up. And you have the speed at which you go back up. The speed at which you go back up is only all output. And this is where strength comes in. And this is why strength training will always be an integral part of mental health. On top of physical health, obviously. But that capacity to go back up and go back up fast after you get knocked down, that's neural output. That's murderous intent. That's the same resilience you need to pull that heavy deadlift. It is the same thing. Applied differently, but it's the same thing. And trust me, this is what we're working on. And this is why all those therapies work so well at first, because everybody gets stronger on the program the first 6 weeks.
Yes.
Everybody does. So then you see right away the results in the mental health side. That's why whenever they do studies that last like 3-4 weeks with weight, you see people getting better right away. Is that sustainable? That's the problem, right? Because like all strength training programs, they have to be sustainable. But the point is, resilience is the key. And resilience, we're going to train mentally and physically through the Strongfit principles applied. And it's going to be strength training. I think people, and I want to talk also about Strongfit as we go, but I think very importantly is people, at least some people have misunderstood the point of Strongfit. So I need to take you back on how Strongfit started. At the time we had CrossFit, right, that was taking off. I was there in 2000 when they were still stuck in NorCal. I heard about them, but then I got an affiliate in 2007, like, first CrossFit game, but really the second CrossFit game with 7 videos is when the whole thing blew up. And I'm getting a lot of, for the next 3 years, I'm getting a lot of CrossFit athletes coming to me. And back then, I see a simple issue, which is intensity over form. It's go, 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 doing crazy movement like the snatch, which at the time no one was doing, at high intensity without really paying attention on what is done, on top of active shoulder and stuff like that. So I see a lot of busted shoulder, I see a lot of busted lower backs. And so they come to me to get better. And you have to understand that fundamentally, I make strength athletes, not players, athletes, which is not the same. My job is to build your structure to make you a better athlete. From there, your coach will make you a better player at CrossFit, football, whatever it is that you choose. Me, fundamentally, I'm Morpheus, not Neo. I will show you the path. I will give you the tools to go forward. So whenever I had those CrossFitters, I was like, all right, I'm going to have to, obviously, you're lacking a certain structure to go at the intensity at which you're going. So I had to compensate for that, for their lack of structure. So what did I do? I gave them the structure, I gave them the strength training, and I gave them the capacity to push on very short periods of time. Because back then, CrossFit was about those, 3 to 12 minute workout, full blast. But what they couldn't do is 20 seconds really hard. They were not, they did not understand strength in that sense. When they understood was hard conditioning, but not strength. So when I introduce is the sled, that energy system, like very, very short, killing yourself on the sled, and strength training. But that was a compensation based on what I saw my athletes needed. Yeah. And that was to compensate CrossFit at the time. So there was a lot of, look, you need to fund your pecs on an overhead stabilization, because the pecs are stabilizers. They don't initiate movement, they stabilize movement. It's another conversation we're going to have on the bench. Never start benching with your pecs. That's how you tear. It's a tricep and upper back exercise, not a pec exercise. Anyway, we'll go over this later. So things like that, right, was what I was trying to give them, like stop using your pecs on the ring dips. You're going to tear. Stop. It's a tricep thing, but you have to have the pecs to stabilize the movement. Yeah. Because otherwise you have to activate your pecs too much to stabilize the movement, which makes you start the ring dip with the pecs instead of the triceps, and then you tear. Anyway, there's many things like this that I was trying to bring forward. But again, it was a compensation to where Strongfit was, to where CrossFit was. That was bringing Strongfit a certain way. There was a lack of the sled and everything. By the way, real quick, I think I found out what the problem is on the burner questions. People can never go there. It's because they don't train strength. So they never have that punching, because then they don't do the 3 rep max, which require, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's what the problem was. Looking back at my seminars, at all the people that told me that they couldn't go, they couldn't go there, that space in the burner questions, those are people that had a shitty 3 rep max. Shitty for them, not for me, like in the sense of they couldn't put the energy into it. They just didn't train that way. So anyway, so now the fact is, CrossFit has changed. So again, because CrossFit was intensity over form, and everybody, I remember like how many people got rhabdo doing CrossFit at first?
That was what it was like.
Yeah, I didn't even know what rhabdo was until CrossFit came about. I was like, what the fuck is rhabdo? Yeah. Right? I never heard of it. And people were pushing and everything. Okay, so by the way, where did I go? When was the last time you heard about someone getting rhabdo? Right.
Didn't push hard enough, pussy.
What was the last time?
You didn't even get rep though. Oh, Jesus Christ.
But I remember what? Okay.
What is CrossFit without rep though?
The logo of CrossFit was Pukey the clown. When was the last time you saw someone puking at the gym? Where are we going with this? Where is CrossFit going? Because you know where it's going. 40-minute AMRAP.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. That. I'm just making fun.
But it's a problem. And actually, it's true. Where did your intensity go? Remember when everybody was asking you what's your friend time? Now everybody's like, what's your Murph time? Who cares? It's running. And endurance is bad for you anyway. When was the last time you tried to get your friend time down? Do you even know what your friend time is? When was the last time you did friend? Forget getting better at friend. When was the last time you did friend? Where did I all go? CrossFit started with short workouts, right? Most of them under 8 minutes, let's be honest. Maybe 12, but most of them under 8, with 2 movements, maybe 3. No one programs that anymore. Yeah. When was the last time you did Grace and Friend and we're done for the day? And by the way, if you do it at full intensity, you are done for the day, that's for sure. So where did that all go? And we'll have a podcast on that, but I think it's actually excessively dangerous for CrossFit. Anyway, but today I want to focus on the Janine template, but we're going to go over the CrossFit stuff because I think
it's a very interesting conversation.
The problem is, for example, Hiller Fit. I mean, Hiller was talking about. Yes. Yeah, Andrew Hiller. Yeah.
I think his videos are cool.
No, I like him. But he was talking about that head of affiliate for CrossFit, saying that the guy thinks CrossFit is dangerous. I have to respectfully disagree with you, Andrew. No, he doesn't think that because that guy doesn't think anything. That guy has no opinion. That's not, you misunderstanding where he's coming from, who those people are. All those CEOs are like, because he was Yoga Works and he was the bar method. No. They're bankers. All of them. That's not how they make money. You're thinking from a product perspective. That's not how they make money. They're thinking financial leverage. They're all bankers. They're all not bankers necessarily, but like financial players. All of them. They're financial stuff. They make money based on money, not based on the product. You wish they thought of a product in a way. The product, you wish he thought of CrossFit as a product. He doesn't because he doesn't think about CrossFit at all. What he thinks is leverage, financial leverage. So what he wants is he wants to raise the valorization of the company so that he can leverage it against other institutions, get funding, but also tax and ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. That's how they look at it. I know because I deal with them all the time. They never think in a product term. They think about the product brings in terms of valorization so that they can have leverage on a financial plan. That's all. So they make money with money, not with a product. The only point of the product is to bring money. That's it. So that guy doesn't think CrossFit is dangerous. That guy doesn't think. The reason he said it is because at the time, he was connected to Yoga Works and the bar method, and he said that to his people. Oh, don't do CrossFit, do Yoga Works because CrossFit is dangerous. So that's why you had him saying stuff like that, is because that's the way he used to say to leverage his company forward with his client, but more importantly with his investors. This is my favorite topic, Disney. Bob Iger is not talking to you, whoever is going to watch his movie, doesn't give a shit. He's talking to his investors, the people that are responsible for the bottom line of his stocks. And that means whoever is going to loan him money at a very high level, obviously. They're all bankers, they're all financial people. They do not care about the product, which is why Boeing can even build airplanes that won't explode, whose door won't explode in the middle of the flight. This is where we are right now. But those people are getting into CrossFit. And so they do not care what CrossFit is as a product because that's not how they see it. They are bankers. He doesn't care in that sense.
It would actually, that's actually worse than if.
Yes, it's far worse. It's far worse because then we could change his mind.
Yeah.
But you can't change his mind because that's not. He doesn't have a mind to change in the beginning. So you have to understand that CrossFit aspect about where it's going right now. I can tell you, they do surveys, they do this, they do this. They're going to try to bring CrossFit to everyone. To do that, they're going to lower the quality of the product. They did that with Disney. They do that everywhere. Every corporation does it. So the problem with that is you have to understand how CrossFit was born, for those who don't know. It was born out of women looking amazing and it being an extreme sport for badasses. So what you had is you had regular people coming into gym going, I want to be a badass too, or at least I want to look like one. So they came in, kind of shaved the reps, faked it, but at least they were in an environment of badasses that brought them back to the gym the next day. Yeah. And the next day, and the next day. What happened? They made progress. Why? Because they went into a place. Because
they're going to eat better.
Right, but that's because they saw people around them that were badasses, and they go and they got some of it, right? Some through osmosis got transfer, and they go, let me push a little bit harder. Let me do a little bit better. But that was the hero's struggle, right? The hero's journey. Yeah. You come here, you get your ass kicked, you get a little bit better, and as you get better and you get your first muscle up or whatever the fuck you judge yourself on, made you feel proud, which fueled your training for the next 6 months. That worked. If you bring people CrossFit to everybody, then it's not for badasses anymore. Then there's no reason to come do CrossFit anymore.
It's just another.
It's just, you know what this is? It's a boot camp.
Yeah.
It's just a boot camp. That's all. That's what those people are going to bring you. Just a boot camp called CrossFit. Nothing else. You see it everywhere. You see it in the gaming industry, right? So I'm not a gamer, but I do like gaming.
He's just an overall nerd.
I'm a nerd, right? And so I love zombie games. Zombie game is my stuff. My favorite one was, I love Dying Light. The first Dead Island was amazing. And then there's Dying Light. And Dying Light is the shit. If you like zombie game, go play Dying Light. 2 is not as good, of course, but the 1 and DLC was amazing. Anyway, Dead Island 2 is coming, and I'm super excited because the first one was really fun. It was my first really cool experience with zombie games. I really liked it. There were others, but this one was really cool.
This one got you really
The one
it
was
got
cool.
you hooked in gaming too.
No, actually, Final Fantasy did. That's another conversation. Final Fantasy 7? Oh, you don't understand. Anyway.
I don't.
No, because you don't. Anyway. Dead Island 2 come about, and it's the worst game I've ever fucking played. I played it 2 hours and I quit. I never finished the game. I played it literally 2-3 hours and I was done. They show you everywhere to go on the map. There's no exploration to do. The combat mechanics are boring. It's just a boring game. There's nothing in it. Like, yes, do you smash zombies? Yes. Does it look visually great? Yes, that's it. There is no substance to the thing. It was the most boring game I played, and I was pissed within 2-3 hours, and I quit.
Yeah.
You know what is the greatest game ever made, or at least there's an argument toward that? It's called Elden Ring. And by the way, I finished Elden Ring twice, just so you know. I beat the game twice.
Very proud of it.
I'm very proud of it. You know why? Because it's the hardest fucking game ever made. Like, the first 2 weeks you die. Yeah, it's fucking Japanese. Like again, right? It's gorgeous, by the way. The artwork is amazing. It's a guy from George Marlin. I think they designed the lore in the back and everything, and then the artwork was done. It's a gorgeous game. First 2 weeks you die. Like at first you have to level up for the first 30 levels because you can't get into any fight. You can get like a lowly soldier, maybe one-on-one. And it takes you 10 minutes to beat it. First 2 weeks, you die. That's all you do is you die. It's the most frustrating game ever played. And then it's an open world that is...
It's such a shame that you didn't have a death count.
Oh, I mean the thousands. Anyway, and I kid you not, I think I've died in Elden Ring more times than I tapped in Jiu-Jitsu. Well, it's about it. Maybe not, because I tapped a lot in Jiu-Jitsu. Probably more in Jiu-Jitsu, but... I must have spent, I'm over 100 hours on Elden Ring already. Anyway, the point is, it's an open world, and so you die the first 3 weeks, and you look on the thing, and it says you've done 1% of the game, of the map. Like, it's insane. Like, there's so much into the game. Like, and I've played it twice, so I've, beat the last boss twice, and I still missed parts of the map. It's the most worked on thing ever, but the point of Elden Ring is the frustration. The boss dies. You have to leave, level up, come back. Kills you one more time. Leave, level up, come back. Right, but once you start to get good at it, then you have a sense of accomplishment and you're happy. You gain confidence out of it. Like you've learned strategy. Like that's the point. And that was CrossFit. Is you get in, no, you can't do a muscle up and you get your ass kicked. You can't even do a pull up. How are you going to do friend? So you have to learn to do that and then do this and then do that, and you can do double unders and you whack yourself like you're on a BDSM session. I mean, where you have marks everywhere. You can't go to the beach anymore because you kind of look weird.
You got like all the bruises on your quads.
Oh no, it's more the mark in the back of the legs and on the ass. You look like you got whipped.
Yeah, exactly. But
you look like you're a professional slave. That's what you look like when you first learn double unders. I mean, type of thing. But that's the hero struggle. That's every movie, every story ever told. And as you get better, you get that sense of accomplishment. Is it frustrating at first? Yeah, and you get your ass kicked. But you see the results right away. You're leveling up.
Yeah, and you start to look better.
And that's the point. You know when you're not going to level up when you do that fucking 40-minute AMRAP.
Yeah.
Yes, it makes you feel better at that moment because you go like, oh, look at all the reps that I do. You cannot do a training session based on talking about the programming. I know you all love to talk about CrossFit and everything, but still, it's about the work put in, not what you can tell your friends after. Obviously, it matters on Instagram and all that stuff. But the point of CrossFit was short, intense workout, just intensity over form. That's another conversation. But
And against time, like that's also the problem that you're seeing more and more, that people are doing like the imam, but there's no like vulnerability in that.
Right.
Like that's what I kind of like what we're doing now on the template. It's like I put my time there, and you right away put yourself in a vulnerable position. It's like,
Yes.
listen, I did this, I sucked at it. Maybe you're gonna beat me, or maybe you're not.
If
But
you-
there needs to be a vulnerability.
if you're
in your
not
training.
frustrated, if you don't lose, you can't learn to win. You
Yeah.
can't level up. Like otherwise, if all you do is win, it means you're not doing anything.
Exactly.
You need the struggle, you need the frustration, because you need to have something that tells you, hey, get better. You got your
Yes.
ass kicked. That's not good enough.
And
Get better.
What does it mean, like, even if you do it, like, let's say you do a CrossFit class, right? The first few times you're gonna finish maybe deadlifts or whatever.
Good.
Why then, if you finish a little bit less deadlifts, you beat like 2 people, it's gonna give you an accomplishment. If
Yes.
you're already first in your first class,
No, but
then
if
what's the
always if
fucking
no one
point?
is
Oh
like,
yeah, if everybody's equal. Well, let's go
no,
that
not
route.
everybody's equal. And the whole thing about like anxiety is like, yes, you don't want to give yourself PTSD out of the workout, which was the problem with the 6 weeks of the open for some people, but then you're training wrong, because
Yeah.
you should prepare for the open. So I think the problem was not fundamentally in the concept of CrossFit. I just think we trained it incorrectly at the end. And I think also, as you have to understand the laws of numbers. More people join your gym, more people complain about your
Always.
programming.
Always.
Because it's always 5 to 10% that are going to complain. So if you go from 100 to 200, guess what? You double the people who complain. If we start to change the way we do things based on that, then you never go anywhere.
Yeah.
So my point is, CrossFit has changed. As CrossFit has changed, that means Strongfit needs to change as well. Because I was always in a symbiosis with CrossFit, because I was about 80% of my business, 70% I would say. But so I adapted based on that. And you have to understand that a lot of the work that I do in front of the camera, that's 95% for CrossFitters.
Yeah.
Right. My one-on-ones, I establish their program. We talk on the side. You don't see those conversations. The conversation you see online is always about movement and CrossFit. So with some strongmen, some powerlifting and everything, but powerlifter, strongmen, it's 5% of the people I talk to versus CrossFitters. So there is a need to change Strongfit in the sense that CrossFit has changed. And we're going to have another conversation about the way that they're going to take CrossFit is going to kill us all. So my offer to you is, let's not do that. Let's go back to what CrossFit was. At the beginning, I was there, 208 and all that stuff. At least you should do that. If you let them take you wherever they're going, it will be very bad for all of us. At least it's my opinion. So what I'm offering,
It's even beyond CrossFit, because the mentality that comes with it and everything, it's not just, it will not just kill the CrossFit or the sport of CrossFit or
functional
the
fitness.
yeah, exactly. I think it's like the whole mentality is the same as you say with Disney.
The
or
whole sport
whatever,
of CrossFit will stay, but like again, where was the last time you saw Rabdo? Where was the last time you saw Pukey the Clown at the gym? Where was the physique of the women is changing? Everything is changing, and I don't think it's for the best. So anyway, we're gonna take back Strongfit to what it was, which was making strength athletes and teaching people to push correctly. So of course, there's always going to be the emphasis on movement, because for example, on the bench, don't bench with your pec, bench with your triceps. We'll talk about all this, right? And that's because in order to perform, you have to perform well, otherwise you get hurt. But I want to rail everything back toward the making strength athlete that we were making at the beginning, and deal with anxiety and depression always, because obviously that's a huge part of what I'm doing with UCL and all of that. But the point is to build resilience. What I'm offering is to build resilience through what you saw early in Strongfit, which is becoming strength athletes and moving correctly. That's how we're going to do it. So the first step of that is going to be Janina's template, right? Because I want you to see what Strongfit applied looks like. So how are we going to get to it? We're going to have different options. So we're going to talk about the template today, but what we'll have is we'll have the template as a tier 1. As a tier 2, we will have mentoring of the template, which means to customize it for you specifically, assistance work, critique videos. You send me what's wrong with the deadlift, the bench, or whatever. So the template, but customized for you, just the way I train Janine, is what I would give you. Then we have the normal mentoring program. It's going to be on the website, my same price, $350. So the template is $35. One-on-one will be $99. The normal mentoring program is still $350, which covers, anxiety, depression, all my work, but basically you as a person, right, either as an athlete or as a coach. And then we will have a gym option, right? The gym option will be $1,000 a month because it's for a gym, an entire gym, which means if you're a main coach or a gym owner, I would obviously take care of you mentoring, but also your coaches. So your coaches would have their own mentoring program for your gym. We would help with, anxiety, depression, obviously, movement, programming. We would do autism as well on there. We would give you the forms we have, the help. We can even promote you on Strongfit if you want and stuff like that. So you would be, it's not an affiliation, but it's pretty damn close to it.
Yeah.
The reason it won't be an affiliation is because I don't want to go through the legal battle of making it a reality, but pretty much you'd be a Strongfit affiliate, right?
And what would that mean? Like, for example, you mentioned autism. What would that mean for that?
Which means we would help you with autism in a sense of we will give you like the vendorship with a regional center. If you're in California, if you're outside of that, we would talk to whoever is in charge of those systems in your state. Like all the forms that we use, contact with the parents, creating a on-site and online community for the parents. Obviously the academic side of it with UCLA of all of that. So you'd be part of Strongfit.
Yeah.
That would be the idea. That's the gym. Your gym will be part of Strongfit, obviously under your name of all of that. If you want to put a banner that says "Powered by Strongfit," it's fine. It's your gym, right? But you'd be part of the crew, in that sense. Today we talk about the template. So the template is Janina's week. Like we put everything she does with the weights, with everything. The reason we put her template instead of mine is because I want you to see Strongfit applied to an athlete.
Yeah.
Right? Me, I do less work because I still think cardio is bad for you, but Janina doesn't. So I wanted to show you
cardio is bad for you, but I need my abs. That's all I have to say.
You need to be hard. So I kind of agree with that statement. So that's why in that sense, cardio is good for me. It might not be good for her, but it's good for me.
We all have roles in this world.
Exactly.
You save the world.
She needs, right. She
I
needs,
make sure I
exactly. She stays lean and hard. Okay. Well, we all have deals like that going on. So we wanted to show you an overall template that has conditioning in it, running. We're going to go into all this. Yeah. But based on the Strongfit principles. So let's work our way from running all the way to strength. Yeah. So running is you run how many times per week?
Well, I like to run at least 3 times a week. I kind of found that's the perfect balance for me to keep my skill of running going, keep my conditioning going.
Your recovery?
And my recovery, because that's actually the main reason why I really like to run, is like I apply the Q training to my running specifically. For me, running is so second nature since I have such a background with sprinting that running is a very natural thing for me. But I love the Q training, what it does for me mentally, and I love running in general, especially being outside and all of those things. So it helps me recover mentally and physically. Like I see the lower, my inflammation is lower. Yes. I can bounce back mentally from the training of the strength. Like sometimes it can be very draining to do strength training, and I feel like doing my running routine, 3 times a week really gives me that energy to bounce back, it puts me into that state which I really like to be in, is to be like, not hyper, but let's say joyful,
By the way, she speaks fast, that's a normal level of energy.
I think I was talking so slow.
Exactly, so you'll understand my life. But it's true that cardiovascular capacity will improve your recovery. What you have to understand when it comes to training, it's not the amount of training that you do that matters. It's the amount of training you can recover from. That's what matters. So we can always give you a template where you do more, which is you can tell how they're selling it to you. It's like, that'll be the next podcast, like the danger of objective-based programming. Yes, we want you to get stronger, and because there has to be a checking system in place. We have to see over time you're getting better. But again, it's not about the amount of work that you do. It's the amount of work you can recover from. And so, first of all, there are the genetics of that. She can do a lot of work naturally, even heavy. That's not necessarily all of you. Like I do a lot less work than she does because otherwise I just don't recover from it, even from strength. I'm actually even shorter intensity than she is. But the key is we can improve recovery on one side, but you also have your natural talent toward recovery on your own. And the amount of work that you do is based on the work you can recover from. Recovery does not mean, oh, I feel like training again, I feel fresh mentally. Recovery means that your body is making progress out of the training that you do. That's what recovery means.
Yeah, and especially with running, like it might be like for some people who, for example, have no experience running, to go run 3 times a week between 3 and 4K each run might be a lot. Like for me, it's not. It's like a recovery run, a Q run, and.
But you could do it. So instead of running, you can do it on the airline. There are ways to do this.
And I found
so you have one long run. Explain your run. You have one short, one medium, one long.
Yeah, to me, I look at it like I have one Q training, one Q plus, and one Q minus one, and I tend to run anywhere between 3K and 4K. So one run usually is a 3K, a 3.5K, and a 4K. Sometimes I do them in intervals. But I want one that's like high intensity, where I really go over that Q and where I'm really pushing that intensity. I usually like to do it around a 3K. For me, that's just a really good distance because I like the time period of like 12 minutes. Like even if I do like a CrossFit workout.
That's slow.
That's not a slow 3K.
Okay. We have a long war going. She still hasn't beat my 5K time. So anyway, like, welcome to married life.
There's many reasons why I run. 1 is because recovery. 2 is to be hot, and 3 is I need to beat you. Like there's just
I agree.
I cannot live like this any longer. It's unacceptable.
She's gonna have to beat my 5K otherwise. Anyway, so that's the running. You also do a lot of conditioning.
Yeah, the Q, and then I have a Q minus 1 as well. Q minus 1 is
they have the template. Just get the template, go look at it.
Yeah. And then I do conditioning, like CrossFit conditioning, like Strongfit, CrossFit, like sandbag work.
Well, she does a lot of CrossFit with sandbags. So I guess you would call it Strongfit in that sense.
Yeah.
She did Fran with a sandbag.
I'm still mentally recovering.
Yeah, exactly. So it's basically she does the OG CrossFit workouts, but with a sandbag. So everything is under 10 minutes, but very intense. Yeah. Right, as heavy as you can make it.
I like to do it like twice a week at least. Like
at least twice a week.
Yeah, and I'm usually as a finisher of, for example, pressing day or some type of like day where pressing day is not as intense as a deadlift day, for example. So I add like a small conditioning piece at the end to really get that intensity stimulus I like.
But those are hard workouts. So obviously twice a week hard like that on CrossFit, like for example with the sandbag stuff like that, even someone as conditioned as she is will not be able to recover from more than that. So that tells you
I can't do more than that. And I never go past 3 movements. Like for me that's very important. Like I don't do anything high skill. So when I do anything CrossFit, it's never high skill. It's not something I cannot push intensity on because that's my main focus of that session is I need intensity. Yeah. So I'm not gonna go like I can do like a airdyne burpee workout and then I'm just going as fast as I can and then I'll die doing that. But I'm not gonna do snatches because whatever it is.
That's because she's competing in powerlifting, so we have to choose movement correctly.
Yeah, it's just too taxing on me.
And then the strength work comes in.
Yeah, and that's where the main focus is. So anything else is like a side. Like it has to be able to help me with that. So I like what the CrossFit does for me is like it gives me that intensity. For example, when you do like a really heavy 5 reps on the deadlift, it's in a way cardio, not necessarily cardio, but you're gonna breathe heavier, feel that intensity, and that's how I like to train with it with intense CrossFit workout. So I think it helps me with that, and mentally it makes me able to push further my strength.
There you go. So again, preparing for the strength work.
If I can't recover from any of it, I will take that out because my first focus will always be strength.
And so the strength work we squat twice a week, one heavy, one light. Deadlift is every 10 days because honestly every week is too much. I think people should deadlift every 10 to 15 days, honestly. Pressing can be 3 times a week. So we'll have podcast on the pressing, right? But you have to understand pressing is upper back and triceps. Look at it this way. So we do floor press, we do block presses, we do push-up with weights, we put some dips in there. It's tricep, just get stronger triceps again and again and again. So we do a lot of that. You're not going to see Janina bench that much yet. We will get to it, but right now, honestly, she needs to get stronger triceps over learning to bench. So it's more like building the structure of her upper back and to give her stronger triceps. That's really what, And honestly, I think that's what most of you need. Honestly, is upper back. And so, by the way, talking about upper back and tricep, you're going to see a lot of our typical Strongfit, strongman movements in there. You're going to see the overhead yoke carry, the overhead yoke holds. You're going to see farmer's carry, farmer's holds, rope pulls, also the usual stuff. Like there's a little bit less sled right now because we don't have a place to do it. But otherwise, obviously, you would see that beyond the question on Saturday, nothing ever changes, right? Yeah. The only thing that I want to add, and then again, we'll do more podcasts about this, is we do assistance work in the morning. It's a 30 to 40 minute session where we go to the global gym and activate, make sure all specific muscles are in place. This is actually a very important part of all this, is to make sure the movement patterns are correct, because we blast the rest of the time. Things have to be set properly, right? And that's what we use the global gym sessions for. It's a short session, 30-40 minutes, and it's split from the other one. So obviously Janina can train 3 times a day in different sessions, which is not for everybody. But I can tell you from experience that splitting the sessions gives you much better results. Even to stay lean, it's better to have 3 sessions throughout the day than 1 big sessions and going. Like it's better for recovery, and it's also better for how your body responds to the work, for water retention and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's really like one of the things that, like, there's always this thing like, oh, genetics and being gifted with strength. Yes. But one thing that I think made me able to find my way of training so fast is being around you all the time and you having the principles and all of those things. And one of those things that helped me tremendously is splitting the sessions. Like assistance work is the reason why I move well, why I'm not hurt. Like I have no problems, pain, nothing. And I'm the strongest I've ever been, and I'm the most healthy because of part of that.
And that's the assistance work. And so, by the way, it's very important to move correctly. I've been stressing that enough. But you cannot just move correctly. You also have to load. Yeah, so the game is it's a very fine line of doing enough of the movement pattern stuff that you still move correctly, but you still have to stress the body enough that you're going to get stronger. But can you recover from that? Where do I put the cardio? And that's why we split the sessions. Turns out it's not that simple to be strong, but it's work at the end. And again, we'll talk about this again and again and again, but it's work, and the work has to be smart. But it's not just like work, don't work hard, work smart. No. Smart and hard. Like there's just you have to do the work. There's no question around it. But it's true that you have to be smart about it. Otherwise, we go back to the problem with the OG CrossFit, which was intensity over form to the point that you break. Can't have that either, because no one is going to get strong while being in pain. So that's where the assistance work came in. But you can also spend too much time on that, too much energy, and then that's all you do, because you start to do bodybuilding and then you don't recover from it. That's always my problem. So
it's always managing.
We'll go over that.
Yeah, and it's I think another thing that I really learned over the past few years and doing strength is that you need to find something that makes you feel happy on a daily basis. Like happy is a stupid word because it means lack of tension, but something that makes you content with your life on a daily basis, like whatever routine it is, because that is going to make it sustainable and enjoyable.
Sustainable is important, but
consistency is
building is not testing is not building. Yeah. The problem is now, like, yes, you have to be able to train in a sustainable fashion. It does mean being happy, choosing the right goals. That's what it means. At the same time, I understand that all hard training some days just feels horrible. That idea of that you don't want too much anxiety of all that stuff. Anxious people will be anxious. Is what you're going to be anxious about that really become the shows. Yeah. That's the thing with all this, is everything is a fine line, everything is work, but one way, so it gets complex. And so we'll go back and explain how we do things in detail. We just wanted to give you that podcast so that you all understand where we're going with all this, and then we'll split it and then go over specific subject as we go. But we're back on a weekly basis, and come get strong with us.
Yeah,
like me, I'm on it as well, and
it's
right now the training is good.
It's really cool, and I what I like also is the fact that we're prepping for a competition, because not for the competition, but because it's a challenge. You know, it's something out of your comfort zone. It's something that will trigger that anxiety and will put everything to the test. And I
honestly,
think that's what's so cool about it.
My coaches with Mike, so our coaches like at Improve, will have to compete once a year in, for example, powerlifting. You get to choose your number, so who cares? And I don't care if it's on the bench press. But we have to introduce some stress, some testing. Yes, most of it should be building, but some of it should be testing. So there's more also on that subject. And I gotta say, because I'm on the template as well, different because I don't do the running or the CrossFit, but
still beats me in a 5K.
Yep, not right now though. But the point is, like, I think this is the best training I've done probably ever, because I can tell like my strength is coming back. I'm close to my 400. I never got a 400-pound, a 4-plate bench press. I got 180 exactly, 180 kilo, but the 4 plates is 185. So I never got 4-plate bench press, which I really want, and I'm actually quite close to it now. So interestingly speaking, my training right now is making me stronger than I was 10 years ago. Not on a deadlift yet, but on a pressing, which I find very interesting.
Which is actually your weakness, right? The pressing.
Yeah, pressing, yeah. So I'm actually training better on now than I was then. So we'd love to share all that with you. So let's get to it. See you guys next week. Next week, we are back at it. Bye, guys.